Whoa. Next Friday's pitch.
By tomorrow.
Way to go, Berlin. Hey Google, join the meeting.
Nonprofits are changing the world. Whether your organization focuses on bringing clean and safe drinking water to everyone on the planet, or caring for people in your local community, nonprofits like yours are making a difference every single day. But nonprofits also face a unique set of challenges. How to manage volunteers and operations on a limited budget. How to get the word out about your organization and mission through storytelling. And how to drive more engagement from donors to fundraise for your nonprofit. We believe that nonprofits should be able to focus more energy on their mission and making an impact, which is why we launched Google for Nonprofits, to provide access to Google's technology and services at no charge for nonprofits in more than 50 countries around the world. Your nonprofit can collaborate and communicate more effectively with smart, secure business apps from G Suite. With Gmail, your nonprofit employees and volunteers can send email from your nonprofit's custom domain. Teams can stay connected from different locations by using Google Hangouts and Chat. And you can access and collaborate on documents from anywhere with Google Drive. Increase your productivity so you can spend more time serving your cause or community. Through Google for Nonprofits, eligible organizations can receive free advertising to run ads on Google Search. Google Ads enables your organization to appear in ads on Google Search when someone's searching for topics related to your mission. Your nonprofit can receive free advertising to raise awareness, drive donations, and recruit volunteers. Tell the story of your organization through video to create an emotional connection to your cause. With YouTube, nonprofits can expand their audience, reach new supporters, and connect viewers to their mission. And finally, imagine that your donors and supporters could see exactly where their donations are making a difference. With Google Earth and Maps, nonprofits can create compelling custom maps that help tell their story to the world. Nonprofits are changing the world. We are here to help. Learn more at google.com/nonprofits.
Good morning everyone. Thank you for joining us today on this webinar. My name is Kabiru Mohammed Aliu and I'll be your host for today. We hope that you have a great time with us and you are able to learn and you are able to take one or two things back to your various organizations. Thank you again, and we hope that you are all keeping safe as we continue to fight this global pandemic. The Learning Space, in partnership with Community Advancement Initiative for Self-Reliance, together with Virtual Formatics, present this webinar today. And what we're going to be discussing is optimizing your non-profit and for-profit organization with G Suite productivity. Thank you again for once more for being here. Just as a note, please utilize the question mark button on your screen to begin to post any questions that you want us to fulfill or want us to answer. Thank you again for your time. We really appreciate you on this session. I will now be introducing the Learning Space. The Learning Space is a capacity building company that is there to provide ICT niche training across Africa. It offers various courses from programming to DevSecOps to networking to security, virtualization, just to mention a few. It also assists you with your practicals, making sure that you are able to assimilate and you are able to work from day one after you're finished with the Learning Space. Reach out to us if you require any additional information. We will be posting those information as this webinar goes ahead. Now, allow me to introduce Community Advancement Initiative for Self-Reliance. I'm proud to say that they're a non-government organization that has been established to advocate for human rights. And I think this is a very, very noble cause. They are championing the cause of the oppressed and the voiceless in our society in Nigeria. The targets are women, children, and persons with disability. It has been founded in 2009. Please visit caiforsr.org to find out more information and also to support this very noble non-governmental organization. We are so proud and blessed to have them today. Also introducing Virtual Formatics. Virtual Formatics is a tech engineering firm that is there to solve organizational challenges and to ensure that organization can focus on their core objectives of their respective businesses, while Virtual Formatics takes care of your technology requirement. They have passionate people that are technology driven and love technology to the core. Thank you very much for that. Now, I would now begin to introduce the panelist members. Again, I'm your host. My name is Kabiru Mohammed Aliu, the founder for Transform Africa. Now, introducing our guest today, Ms. Eni Ayeni. She's the Executive Director for Community Advancement Initiative for Self-Reliance. She's very, very passionate about community and society upliftment. She's very, very passionate about technology, and we'll be sharing some of our experiences as we go through the webinar. Please stay tuned. Ms. Ayeni is self-motivated, and like I've mentioned earlier, have a love and passion for community and society development. Introducing Shane Godia Casey. She's a small and medium business tech executive for Transform Africa. She's going to be giving her own view as it relates to how businesses can survive, and then also businesses can use technology to enable their success. Lastly, introducing Aniebet Namdi. Is the co-founder for Virtual Formatics. In a nutshell, he's passionate about technology, and you would hear from him shortly around G Suite. Thank you very much for that. We will now be moving now into the presentation. I'll be taking you through a short presentation around G Suite, and it's very important that we look at this from both NGO perspective and also from a business perspective, how this can actually enable your business. Now, productivity with G Suite. Really, the catch word here is that the simplest way for teams to securely work together. And I think that's a powerful statement, especially in the time where we are now. Taking away the COVID-19 period, we believe that we now have a new normal. This is what needs to continue to happen, where people are happier working from anywhere in the world, and people can actually be very, very productive in their respective works and in a secured manner. And I think this is where the future is getting to. And businesses and business leaders on this call, right, needs to begin to, adopt these fundamental principles because it's really the new normal and the new way we need to work going forward. So talking about, remote work, like I said, is the new normal. And if you look at the stats that has been presented from a United States perspective, before COVID, you got on about 3.6% working, remotely or working from home or working from anywhere in the world. However, with the COVID-19, that percentage has grown to up to 30% that are now working remotely. Basically, this just able to get your work done. And if they are not synergized or they're not in one place, then it's very difficult for employees to utilize that seamlessly. So talking about G Suite, right? The catchword here really is that you can have your secured video conferencing, which is very important, right? Because if you're working from remotely, you've got to be able to communicate and collaborate, right? And while you are doing so, you also need modern collaboration as well, meaning that you need some applications or some tool sets that can enable you achieve, that type of work. So basically, you need to be able to, work on documents, work on spreadsheets, work on presentations, and more and more and more. But you also need to be able to do this, in a secured manner as well, right? It should be fast and it should be easy for people to utilize it. With the learning space, we're able to provide you with training services to specifically or tailor-made training to specifically address your unique organizational needs. So we could enable this your journey and this your transition faster, as you adopt technology or as you enhance the already adopted technology that you have. Now, some of the recap that I was talking about, what tools does your employee want, right? What tools do the employee want? What are the modern workspace application that you need to utilize as you use this tool? What costs can you save? Like you have Zoom, you have Box, you have all these other video conferencing or collaboration tools. They are standalone, but what G Suite gives you, that it gives you the Google Meet, it gives you everything in one for the price, for less than the price that you would pay for some of these other collaboration tools. But again, those collaboration tools might have a unique benefit to you as an organization, but you got to start considering unification. Because if you unified your application, it's easy for you to report. You can report and see who is using what application. You could do a lot of things if they are all unified or centralized, right? Also, you also have risk-free adoption as well from that perspective. Now, looking at from a video conferencing point of view, you need to have secure. You need to be secured. And one point that I would like to also make here is that I would like to make a point around the fact that the video conferencing is, I'll use the word rugged, right? It can withstand some of the poor network connectivity that you would have. And I think these are some of the qualities of when you have a video conferencing tool, right? It can cancel noise in the background as well. It could help you just become more productive as against the normal, right? You could then connect to people face on face, right? You could have a conversation with them. You could, look at their gesture. You could look at a number of things, right? And this thing can all be done from a modern browser, as an example. For example, if you're using your computer, you don't necessarily need to install any additional application. If you're using your phone, the application is quite light to install. You could host close to 250 people or more on a call, and you can have a seamless engagement, right, within your organization. But also, you can also make it fun, because that's where the magic then happens. Make it fun for your employees and people to utilize. Inbuilt, you could look at live caption to take your notes as well. You could look at, I mentioned this already, noise cancellation, right? If you are in an airport or you want to have a meeting, you could just, it could help you, with some of those, canceling some of the noise. It might not eliminate the noise totally, but at least you would then still be able to contribute and make your input into that meeting. You can also chat, you can also engage. So basically, then the robust security and privacy, I think this is what is very important, right? you could wipe device. You could wipe, let's say, for example, to it than, for example, if you are used to using the normal Gmail, right, or the normal Gmail. Now, the point there is that there are other things that you would benefit from if you migrate your organization to a proper, G Suite for business or for NGO type package. Basically, as well, you are equipped, to meet the toughest standard. So if you have any of the regulations like your ISO 27001, which is information security, some of your GDPR requirements and all that, you can make sure that you maximize and you make sure that you have the toughest, one of the toughest securities, standard in compliance with the organization. So this is just a fun slide for you to look at. You could see that there are several applications of the G Suite. Now, if you look at Google Meet, right, specifically, you would see that in this first video to my left, you will see that this is being used in a hospital, real-time hospital scenario, where a lot of things are happening. People are trying to save lives, and the team is able to communicate effectively and efficiently, right? On the other side, you have a team. As you can see, the staff brought his kids to the meeting, just so that at least they can see that this person is human, right? He has families, he has emotions, so all this makes your employees a little bit more happier, right? When they work remotely, because they have what we refer to as a good work-life balance. So now, from a collaboration perspective, right, you are able to create your best work faster. You are able to do more, right, with your work. You are also able to collaborate real time, like I've mentioned, with your team as well. You're able to do that. This is we're just reiterating some of the points, right, that we have earlier mentioned. You are able to store, access, and auto-organize, which is very important, right? You are able to auto-organize. It tells you your frequently used document. It tells you, it gives you a way to help you. Are you looking for this document? Do you want to utilize this document? It just brings the information right in your fingertips, right, for you to be able to utilize. And as you continue to utilize the facilities, it begins to get more intelligence about what you need, right, and what you don't need. Now, in terms of you can able to search, Google is one of the best when it comes to searching because they are quite advanced with their Google search, right? So it brings that same functionalities within the G Suites as well. So you can also benefit from that, right? There are organizations that have various success story, right? For example, you have a success story from Whirlpool, right, where they are able to break geographical barriers and work together quickly from anywhere. Fantastic stuff, fantastic stuff. And most of us would have some of these scenarios in mind, right? We have some of these scenarios, we can be able to do some of these things within our organizations. Why don't we bring value, right, to our various organizations? That's the question. And we are here, the learning space is here to assist you with that. You can reach out to us so that we can have those engagements, right, as quickly as possible to enable your business. Furthermore, it's fast and easy to adopt, right? Very quick, very easy, because you might already be familiar with G Suite, right, or Gmail. Then the migration of your company or of your non-profit organization to the platform becomes even more easier, right? G Suite already accommodate billions of users as of today. That means you have an ecosystem. You have an ecosystem of people that can benefit from G Suite that you can collaborate with if you allow for such. Familiar user experience, like I mentioned, right? You already have some of these advantages. It also it gives you advanced video calling features as well, right? The file and storage and access is inbuilt for Teams. Also, you could mount your G Suite or your Drive or your Google Drive, right, on your laptop or you can install the app as well on your phone. That means your document can follow you anywhere. You don't necessarily need to be online to use the document. You can use the offline version, and you could continue the same way you store your document on your computer. The difference is that you are selecting the G Suite, the Google Drive file directory to save to. And as soon as you save, if you have internet, it syncs the information upstream, right, to the internet. That means if your computer crashes, then you can just get a new computer, and then voila, you are up and running again, because you have access to your file immediately. 24/7 support is also inbuilt. That means you can get 24/7 support from anywhere in the world. So basically, these are some of the functionalities that you enjoy with having the G Suites, right? And as an NGO, for instance, you move around a lot, and you need your information right at your fingertips, right? Now you are able to integrate as well to thousands and thousands of applications. That means you can bring everything into your G Suite. You could integrate everything into your G Suite, and then you could have a very a fantastic experience with some of the tools that you're already used to. Like, for example, the Slack, the developer community is used to the Slack tool. You can all integrate it within your G Suite, right? Then just moving on to some of the benefits. If you look at some of the cost benefits, right, you see that if you are utilizing the G Suite, right, you are able to save on cost. Because if you look at some of the Zoom and some of all that, you notice that you would get the Google Meet together with other functionalities all combined for the price that is lesser than if you are using some of these independent video conferencing facilities, right? Moving on, you can also integrate also to your office as well. So if you already have Office 365 license, you can also integrate that and try and come up with a package that will help you reduce your cost. So you can do a combination of G Suite and your Office E1 particular license, which can save you up to 20% of your cost. Now, I'm just going to talk about some applications, right, to it. From a healthcare perspective, right, you know that you need to collect a lot of data. You could use the Google Forms to collect data. You could use the Google Meet to meet, and you are sure that you are storing your data in a very, very secured location, right? This is a case of this company, Reliance Health Services, right? During the COVID, they were able to utilize Google Sheets for their tracking of their teams, Meet, Hangout, Charts, and all those functions to bring their business real-time value. Retail as well, there's similar applications. You could do your surveys as well. With your forms, you could do a whole lot of things. You could streamline what users are accessing, what they are not accessing, and all that, right? So this is also a Shopify, right, that has this this application, and they are able to give more value to their employees, right? So financial services, there is also an application for financial services as well. With Atom Bank, there are also a case for manufacturing as well, where you can ensure, like with this particular company, Celestica, they were able to they have we are averaging 3,800 Google Meet calls per month. That means within the organization they are having various meetings, right? And they are able to reduce the cost of equip a room, right, by close to up to 90%. I mean, this is fantastic. Putting your money where it needs to be, right? Other industries, PwC, also have this case study as well. So basically, in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say here is that G Suite can really, really enable your business as a non-profit organization. With our partnership with Community Advancement Initiative for Self-Reliance, they are currently using G Suite, and Ms. Annie would speak about or will share some of our experience when we get into the panel discussion. But basically, what we are saying to you is that G Suite is able to give you value for your organization and put a whole lot of things in your hand. We would now be moving into the polls shortly. Please take just a few minutes or a few seconds to answer the poll. Thank you. Yes, thank you very much again for joining. If you are just joining now, please kindly use the question mark functionality on your device to start posting your Q&A questions that you have. We will take them as soon as the demo session is done. The panelists members would help us with some of the questions. Thank you very much. So as you can see from your screen, right, we have, this is the G Suite backend. It was important for us to show you the G Suite backend because you are mainly already familiar with some of the functionalities that you have in the Gmail, right? But however, though, one of the most important points that I want to mention is that there are applications that you can install for your organizations. For example, your forms. You can use your forms to collect surveys, to collect data. You know, if you are an NGO, you could, if you're a business as well, you could use it to sensitize how your clients are feeling about your product and services. So you can do a lot more, you know, for the functionalities. Of course, the normal documents, email, calendar, and all those functions are native, right? Meaning that they are available the same way they are available to a G Suite user. Now, the difference between the normal Gmail user and the G Suite user is that is your access to manage your organization. So if you are if you are a non-government organization and you are also a normal business for profit, right, you are able to manage your users. So as you can see, it gives you a dashboard, right? It gives you a dashboard. It gives you users. So meaning that you can manage your users, people that are coming into your organization, people that are joining, people that are leaving. You can manage your users. You could also manage groups. That means you can create groups. For example, you can have your sales group. You can have your operations group. You could have your project group, or you could even be specific. You can have a project for reduction of infection or disease infection. Maybe that's what the team is in charge of doing. You can have a group for that. So any communications, any files can be shared within that group, right? You can also have organizational units. For example, you have the finance unit, you have the operations unit, you have the administrative unit, you have the executive unit. You can have a number of units within your organizations for seamless organizations of resources and processes. You could also give your employee, as per organization unit, access to applications that are relevant to their productivity, right? You could manage your business building resources. So if you have meeting rooms, your employees can schedule meeting rooms, can book meeting rooms. You know, you can manage, if let's say for example you have 20 buildings, 20 locations all over Nigeria, all over the world, you are able to bring all those resources into one view, right? And you can manage all your resources, you can manage your projector, you can manage any equipment that you have right from the resources as well. Your devices as well, you can manage your devices, and you can do a whole lot more. But for today, I would be focusing really on security and also reports, right? And we might also look at a bit around devices. So let's start with the devices. The reason why we're starting with the devices is that you can secure your corporate data on devices. As I mentioned, if your device is stolen, right, as an example, all you need to do is to report to your admin, and then your admin can initiate a wipe function immediately. And whoever has access to your phone or to your device would not be able to access any company information because it will be blocked automatically. So basically, that is to secure your devices. So I'll go into it just for us to look at it very, very quickly. As you can see here, you can manage your mobile devices. You can manage your endpoint devices. So as you can see from this demo, we have 8 devices that are 8 users that have mobile devices, right? You can look at it and you can actually tell you, are they iOS, are they Android, are they endpoint? Now, from an endpoint perspective, that is your laptop, your desktops, and all that, right? So you could look at a lot of more management from that perspective. So let's go into, for example, the mobile device. From a mobile device perspective, where I would like to focus really is on the information that you get from the user's mobile device. You are able to see, the type of operating systems that they have installed. You are able to, look at a number of information, whether, the device, the data is encrypted. As you can see, the data going into that phone is encrypted, right? It's secured. You could look at when they have synced. You could look at whether it's company owned or whether it's user owned. In the case of this example, this device is what I call it is user owned, right? That means, what it simply means that when you are wiping, let's say for example, the user leaves your organization and you want to wipe the data. What you need to do is to wipe only the company related data from their phone, right? And not necessarily their, so that's what you focus on. And that's what this helps you to do. But if it's company owned, and let's say the employee refuses to return the device, you can wipe the entire phone as well because it's company owned, right? From that perspective. So that is what devices shows you. It gives you the details of the devices. The endpoint as well begin to give you information about the endpoint, right? You could look at what is the HP laptop, is it a Dell laptop, what is the make of that laptop, what Windows is currently installed on it. As you can see, this is Windows 10, right? It gives you information about the endpoint that you have. So this is a very, very important feature to manage your organization. So you could begin to get some intelligence around how your users are doing from that perspective. Now I would move again back to let's go back to reports. Let's go to reports now so that we can show you what you could do from a reporting perspective, right? So basically from a reporting perspective, you could begin to look at some information about your users. As you can see from this dashboard, we have active users, 8 active users. We don't have any users that are suspended. We don't have any users that have been archived, and we don't also have any users that have been blocked. So you can block a user, right? You can block a user, you can suspend a user, right? And these are users that are already active. You can also see how your capacity is doing from a storage perspective, right? You can see how your capacity is doing. As you can see in this example, we have only used 0.48% of the possible storage available, right? So that means this organization, you are doing very well in the sense of managing your storage. You can see how different applications are doing as well, right? You can see how different applications are doing. You can see a number of things from that perspective, right? You could see, Gmail, what is happening from a Gmail perspective. You could also see what is happening from a Meet perspective, how the organization, how the people are using the facilities within the organization. So you can also begin to look at your productivity, right? So if you are a business, already you can begin to get some information about what applications are people using and what people, for this particular example, we have only installed the native applications. Imagine if you bring other applications, you can also see how they are performing against those applications. You could look at a number of activities that is going on. So from an account, I'm going to move into account just to show you what you can see from an account's perspective, right? This is very important, 2-factor authentication, right? So meaning 2-step authentication. That means, as you can see, this organization, we have not actually enforced the 2-factor authentication. What it simply means that apart from the password, to enter the organizational resources, you need to enter, you need to authenticate at an additional level, either using a mobile app or using an SMS to further authenticate, so that even if somebody gets your password, they will still need your device to still log in. They will need your device, they will need access to your app. And by the way, as best practice, it's advisable that all your apps on your phone, please, you need to password them or you need to protect them, because even if you lock your phone from the first screen perspective, once you go into your phone, right, you still need to lock your application, so that it also helps if you have children as well, because that means your children cannot access the application that they're not supposed to be accessing. But also from a criminal perspective as well, even if they have access to your phone, they're able to log on, they will still need to enter a password to enter that application, or authentication to enter that application. So you can also lock your 2-factor authentication as well, so that it is difficult for Even if somebody have your phone, it will be difficult for them to still know your what they call it, your passwords, right? From that perspective, you could also see how your emails are doing, right? What is happening. You can see email. The blue line is the email received, while the orange line is the email sent. So you can also begin to see, what is happening within your organizations, right? Whether they are how they are utilizing the application, right? You can also begin to see. Now, from a Google Meet perspective, you are able to also see what is happening from a Google Meet perspective as well, right? You're able to look at it. You're able to see that, as you can see, within one day, you have one user, right, that is using the application. If I go to to August 31st, I could see that within one day, I can see 7 days report, and I can also see 30 days report as well. So you can see exactly what is happening from a day perspective, from 7 days, which is a week, and then from a monthly perspective as well, how you are tracking and how you are doing, right? So basically, these are some of the things that you need to begin to look at. Lastly, on the demo, I would like to show you the G Suite app monthly uptime. Remember that we spoke about the fact that your G Suite, it will never go down. Let's put it that way, because it is reliable, and even if it does, your services is down, it gets back up, because Google has a number of availability zones, right? They have a lot of number. They can point. Let's say, for example, there's a flood happening in one of their data centers. They could move their workload automatically to another data center. So meaning that your information is still safe and secured without any data loss. Basically, as you can see, they have very good statistics around the uptime, 99.99%, 991%. You even have 99.995% in June. So you can see month on month, what is the SLA like? What is the service level agreement? And you can also see how each application is performing in terms from an SLA perspective. So this is an amazing functionality, an amazing tool. Thank you for listening. We will now slowly begin to move into the panel discussion. Thank you. So we would now be taking a very short poll, right? Please just take a minute or so to quickly answer the poll before we start the panel discussion. Thank you very much for your time, and thanks for listening. And also, if you are just joining, please begin to post your questions in the Q&A sections of this webinar. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for participating in that poll. We would now be moving now into the panelist discussion. But before we do, we like to say, in learning you will teach, and in teaching you would learn. Please, whatever knowledge that you have taken in this presentation, please pay it forward or pass it forward. Very important. Let's uplift our society from a technology perspective. Thank you very much. So we'll now be moving into the panel discussion. And please just continue to bring in your Q&A using the question mark button on your screen. Thank you very much. So I'll be calling on Ms. Annie to answer this question. So what does G Suite for nonprofit entails? Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Thank you, Mo, for that powerful presentation. To answer the question, G Suite for NGOs, what it entails. G Suite is part of the Google for non-profit program, which includes grants for programs, for ads and perks for YouTube and maps. Only G Suite Basic is available under this program, and it is free for non-governmental organizations. When I mean it is free, it is free for you once your organization has been verified and as a non-profit, and the verification entails you submitting your necessary registration document to Google for them to really verify whether you are a non-profit or not. Once it is verified, you have been verified. You are given the chance of getting into the G Suite platform and all that. So that's basically what it entails for non-profit. As an organization, we've been able to get that, and it's been working effectively for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Annie, for that. We really appreciate your feedback and the question as well. I hope that the audience is very clear with that response. If you are a non-government organization, you can benefit straight away from G Suite, especially the G Suite Basic. So moving on now to the next question, I would be calling on Godia to respond to this question. How can G Suite be used to put restrictions and manage data usage in an organization? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mohammed, and good morning, everyone. Now, sometimes in 2012, Robert Mueller, the FBI director, said there are only two types of companies, those that have been hacked and those that will be. But something changed. Google changed. Now, Google has put in place, has ensured that the data used in an organization is highly secured. How did you do that? The admin, that's the G Suite admin, has been enabled to be able to ensure that all team members have strong passwords that, like Mohammed said earlier, that has letter and number combinations. Now, the administrator can set a minimum and maximum strength requirements for the password. Now, for instance, you get the account newly, you want to log in, you'll be told that, okay, no, this password is weak, this one is strong, and until you get a strong password, you are not able to continue. And then the administrator also monitors the strength of passwords of the users. And then when the administrator notices that there's a weak password, it can prompt the user immediately so that the user can correct that, so to ensure maximum security. And then with the two-step verification, where codes and all that is incorporated, there is serious check that the person must enter twice, to log in twice to check that it's actually like I'm using now. They'll check, okay, am I the real person using this thing, or I have been hacked? Now, when I enter my password, it's also asked me for a code, like Mohammed said, use SMS and all that to do that, to show that in case my password leaks to someone, to show that I'm really the person using it. Okay, all that can be checked. And also there's this early phishing detection that G Suite has, or Gmail has, that when it suspects an incoming mail, it delays delivery of this mail. Some of us must have have seen something like that. I've experienced things like that. It delays the delivery of the mail and that incoming mail, and performs rigorous phishing analysis, or it moves that mail to spam. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that, Godia, for that response. So we'll be moving now to the next question, which I will pose to Annabeth. Which G Suite app are available for NGOs, and how do they fare in cost and deployment? Thank you.
Right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Aniebet once again. Thank you, Mohammed, and to the rest of the panelists. It's been great so far exploring the G Suite for nonprofits. It's important that we take care of the nonprofit organizations in our environment, and Google has been doing extremely well. That's why we as Virtual Formatics also we also support the nonprofit organizations also. So going into what are the applications that are available, there you have the regular Gmail, which Mohammed just talked about, that enables you send emails. You have the Google Meet that enables team collaboration. You have Forms. You have 30 gig of drive storage, which enables you share files within and outside your organization. And you also have the ad grants also, which Ms. Eni spoke about earlier. You have quite a number of apps, but just to mention a few. So these basic apps that they provide for you, and also the advanced one, are apps that enable basic business operations to run smoothly, and day-to-day operations, for you to be able to carry out day-to-day operations. In terms of costs, Ms. Eni mentioned earlier, in terms of cost, it's absolutely free from Google. It's $0. And looking at all these applications that Google is giving to non-profit organizations for free, when you want to compare the price or check out the price, it goes a very long way. If you were to use a collaboration platform from, let's say, any other third-party video conferencing tool, you might end up spending close to like $5 or $6 for monthly payments. When you look at the Google Drive storage, if you need a cloud storage, you might end up paying so when you calculate all that, it might sum up to around about $20. But here you're getting it for free. And if you want to check around the comparison with other Google products, it's going to go under the G Suite Basics, but Google is giving it for $0 once you are verified as a non-profit organization. Thank you, Mohammed.
Thank you very much for that, Aniebet, for that, just giving an insight. Also, just to add, we can help you with your trainings and also your deployment requirements as well, just to ensure that you can migrate successfully all your data and all the information to the new platform. So moving now to Ms. Eni, are there any restrictions in using Google Meet for virtual events? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mohammed. Yeah, there are no restrictions in using a Google Meet for virtual events. I know that most of us are used to Zoom, and I know that if you want to open an account in Zoom, use it just maybe to do a meeting. If you are not using the paid section of the Zoom, you're given maybe like, let me say 40 minutes maximum for that meeting, and which is sometimes annoying. So, but in terms of using the Google Meet, there is no time restriction. You can use the platform at the number of hours you want to use, and also you can also have up to 150 people at the same time in a meeting using Google Meet. But you bet me that using Zoom, the one that you've not paid, you just have some maybe 3 or 4 restrictions to the number of persons you can use. So Google Meet is entirely non-restricted, so you are free to use it as far as you are a non-profit organization. And then you can also record the meeting too. That is, if you have migrated using the G Suite as a non-profit. You can record your meetings using taking record of the event too. So thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Highly appreciate your response, and I believe that the audience will be taking home some value. Now, moving on to Godia to answer this question, which is around how can organization monitor staff output periodically, for example, at the end of the month? Thank you.
Thank you once more, Mohammed. To answer this question, I'll bring it back home to my organization. Now, we use the G Suite in our organization, and then the administrator uses what we call the app usage reports. You know, it gives the admin an in-depth understanding of how the organization or the users or our team members use the G Suite app. Now, with this app usage reports, the admin can see the mails that have been sent, the incoming mails over a particular period of time or a specific period, and the admin can see the files created and shared, and the storage limits of users can also see, okay, is this storage limit running out, or what can we do? Okay, what is making it full and all that, and then you can also see the number of search queries from different devices, like Mohammed talked about the endpoint earlier, can see all that and then manage all of that. Now, with these corrections, with this monitoring that the admin can do using the G Suite, you can see that corrections can be made, rearrangements can be made, and then the organization can have optimum productivity. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Godia, for that explanation. Thank you very much. So we're going to be moving now to the next question, which will go to again to Anebet. Does G Suite for non-profit include Google Classroom? How can Google Classroom be used by NGOs? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Amo. So basically, the Google Classroom, just to let you know, the Google Classroom is not a typical learning management system that can perform most of the full features of a learning management system. But however, it can be used in a classroom just to enhance learning, but it's not a full learning management system. So there are different licenses, or there are different packages that support the Google Classroom. Like we have the G Suite for Education, and then G Suite for Education Enterprise, and for also the G Suite non-profit also has the Google Classroom. But however, it's restricted. If a class is created from the basics, anybody from the non-profit would not be able to attend that. Any from non-profit domain would not be able to attend that class. But yes, it supports it, and then it can be used to enhance learning in a classroom. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Anebet, for that response. So we'll call back Ms. Eni again to take this question. Can an organization migrate its existing email, calendars, events, and contacts to G Suite? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mo. Yeah, you can bring your existing email, contacts, and calendar data into your G Suite. Let me get back to my organization. When I came in contact with, as the coordinator of the organization, when I came in contact with the G Suite for nonprofit, earlier on we already had an existing website. So I was wondering how the migration was going to be. But with the help of the learning space, we're able to migrate the organization web page and everything into the G Suite. So it is very, 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 very easy and the platform has an existing areas where you can migrate your emails, your calendars, and then your event, and also including the contact into the G Suite application. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. At this juncture now, we will be taking some Q&A questions from the audience. So we have a question here: how can organization collecting most of its data offline benefit from G Suite? Like we mentioned earlier on, that you are able to install the application right on your laptop. For example, your documents. You can then work on your documents offline, and then it will sync. When you are now available. Also, you could mount your email as well on an email application, such as Outlook, as an example, so that if you don't have internet connectivity, you can still access your old emails while you're waiting for connectivity to get your newer emails. Also, you could look at the G Suite offline mode as well to see on certain scenarios. But the best optimum use, of course, is when you are online, because then you can chat, because the chat function, for example, require you to be online. You can have a video conferencing because it allows you, the internet will only be the one to allow you to use the video conferencing. So I think from that perspective, you could look at some of the things that you can do offline, and then you can look at some of the things that you still have to do online. So I don't know if any of the panelist members have any contribution. Maybe I'll just call on Anebet. Thank you.
Thank you, Mo, for that insight. Just as you've rightly said, there are certain applications that supports offline mode, like the Google Drive, which you can typically store your data offline and also online, so that if there are any changes while you are offline, once there's internet connection, it syncs with the one online to make sure that you have the same file. You don't have two different versions of a particular file. Also, for data collection, most organizations do manual data collection in terms of pen and paper and all, but it's still online though. With the Google form, you can send out links so that you try as much as possible to eliminate the paper data collection, because once you have the form sent out, you can have the responses brought out in an Excel sheet or in any form that you really want to have your response in. Just to mention that. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. So we're going to now be moving now to the next question. I'll call on Godia for that. In an NGO, the account unit is the powerhouse of the organization. How can G Suite be used to optimize its operation? Thank you.
Okay, thank you once more. Now, most businesses have issues managing their budget, so it is advisable to use a finance tool like the ones G Suite provides. Now, for an NGO the accounts unit of an NGO to maximize or to optimize its operations, personally, I would advise the use of Expensify. Now, this app is designed for companies that do not have time or available talent to manage expenses on their own. Now, the NGO perfectly fits into the criteria, and with the Expensify, they can track receipts, and they can use the Expensify to manage their everyday cost on the go without having to rely on a huge amount of input from professional accounting teams. Now, the NGO is trying to save costs. The NGO is trying to get funds for their project. So I strongly believe that the Expensify, it's good for them because it saves their time and it saves money. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. We have been receiving some other questions coming in around the availability of the presentation. Yes, we'll make the presentation available, as well availability of the recording. The recording will be made available on our social media pages, so you can go and look for it from there. Also, the email that will follow after the webinar would also contain information on how you can find the video and also the attachments. So thank you. Keep your questions coming. We will do our best to answer as much questions as possible before we close. Now, I'm going to be calling on Aniebet to answer this question. How does Google keep my information secured and prevent unauthorized access to my data? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mohammed. We all know at this age and time, information security is key. You don't want organizational information or personal data getting into the wrong hands or unauthorized personnel. So that's why we pay strict attention to security and information privacy. In respect to that, G Suite provides you with the admin backend, which the administrator is able to see. First of all, if you have access to, for you to have access to it in the first place, as Godia mentioned, there are two-factor authentication that authenticates the user. Okay, the user is logging in, you know the password, then yes, well, what else do you have to authenticate that you're actually the person? You have the Google Authenticator that authenticates the app on your phone. Okay, you actually have access to it. Then also you can use the text message and the text message first of all. Also, it takes it a step further to also note the location that you're logging in from. If, for instance, your organization is based in Nigeria and then someone is logging in from France or from, it's suspected that this is an unusual place where someone logs in from, and then it pops the question that, okay, who is logging in, which browser is he logging in from? Then it notifies the administrator. Secondly, if it's if the login is from a device that is not usual, also it pops up a question, why is this device not registered? Because also what you can do is that you can register the devices, as Mohammed mentioned earlier on. You can register the devices that are being logged in, like the laptop can be registered, the mobile phone can be registered, so that at every point in time you know which device is logging in and if it has permission to log in. Also, we are faced with the challenge of third-party applications, like on your phone, you download an app, for instance, and then the app is telling you allow access to your pictures, to your photos, to all these things. And most of the time, we ignorantly just allow the applications to have access to it, which we don't know where the information is being used or what is being used for. But with G Suite, you can manage, or maybe in case you mistakenly allowed an app, you can manage what the application has access to. Okay, the application, what's a let's say, for instance, a document application, what's it doing with my microphone? Or a document that is just accessing location, what is it doing with your microphone and with other hardware on your system per se? So it gives you that oversight of what an application is making use of, and if you suspect anything, you can easily block out a particular application or restrict what it has access to, thereby preventing unauthorized access to certain information that is not supposed to be out there in your organization. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Anebet. I would like to ask Ms. Eni this question. So any general advice do you have for NGOs, especially at these times that we are, and for any general business as it is? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mo and Mohammed. Yeah, my advice is I would like to give a brief background what and why my organization adopted the G Suite platform. During the total lockdown, we were to work from home, and I noticed that each time I call a staff, okay, can you help me do this? Can you do this? The staff will tell me, I'm somewhere doing his or her own personal runs. And at the end of the month, the staff is paid. So by the time I now sat down for 1 month, 2 months, I realized that we were just working from home, in quotes. The staff were not productive, and a lot of things were not going on well. So I had to take that bold step to adopt the G Suite. So that's one. So if you are working in an NGO, if you are a CEO and is attending this event, I really admonish you, if you have not migrated to using G Suite, to really take a look and go into it. It's worth it. Another thing that I also want to say, I remember sometimes 2018, there was a project we wanted to, we got funding for that project. It was a 3-year project. And when the donors came for organizational capacity assessment, the first thing they asked, what kind of application do you use to store your data? So, and then all we had was using CD plate, flash drive, external hard disks and all that. So they were like so disappointed somehow. So, and they gave us at the end of the assessment, even though we won the grant, they gave us the list of security applications that we need to adopt for because of that project and going forward in the organization. So in a way, when a donor comes to your organization and to do a kind of a capacity assessment, going into the G Suite, using the G Suite platform, it gives you more credibility, and it will also send a good signal to the donors too. So I will encourage each and every one of us, if you are a CEO of an organization and you have not yet taken this bold step to adopt the G Suite application, that is something that is worth it. And another thing that I will also say, I'm speaking from a personal experience in using the G Suite. It has also helped me, just like some of the panelists have said. It has helped me to work from anywhere. I can monitor a staff. I can monitor the organization where a staff is, what the staff is doing, because using the Google Calendar, where at the end of the month, I mean before the at the beginning of every month, all the staff, they put in the key in all they need to do. So if a staff at the end of the month is not using that, has not done that particular activity, it prompts me. So in a way, it has helped me to really look out for a staff that is redundant and all that. So it has saved a lot of my time and energy. Sometimes not being in the office, but I know what is going on per time in the organization. So thank you very much, and thank you for all the my fellow panelists and all that. Thank you, the attendees, and thank you, Mo, for this opportunity. So thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the valuable insight that you have shared. I think it's very practical. It's very relatable to all of us. Thank you very much, all the attendees and all the panelists for making your time. So before as we move towards closure, we'll be taking one last poll, after which we have a very short video, and after which we will then conclude. So thank you very much. Please just stay tuned. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Thank you all for joining this session today. We are very grateful to have you on the call. Thank you, and please continue to stay safe and continue to follow our various future webinars. I would like to thank all the panelists, Ms. Eni, Godia, and Ebet, for honoring us today. We really appreciate your time. Also to the attendees, thank you for staying with us through the webinar. Please follow us on our various pages to get more up-to-date information. Thank you and cheers. Goodbye.